This is a video about Excel practice. Get you ready for that final. So here we go. We're going to go to click more Excel practice and click on the Excel practice file right there. We're going to open that with Excel and we'll save it as, after enable editing, I'm going to save it as, do a file, save as. I'm putting it over on my OneDrive again. It doesn't remember my OneDrive. Well, I'll just save it to my... That's it. Really?
It wouldn't save to me.
I renamed it.
Go ahead and rename it if you need to. I'm renaming...
I renamed it after I didn't enable it.
Yeah, it might, because if you don't enable editing, I don't think it even lets you save it. So I'm making it, I'm putting it in my section 1. Actually, it should be in section 2. What am I doing in section 1? Section 2, I'm going to call it Manning Excel Practice. Put your last name in front of it, and then save. Save as, yep. Oh. It's making me log in again here. I don't know why Microsoft is making me log in again to get to my OneDrive. Oh, we're having trouble signing in. Thank you very much, OneDrive. All right. Upload blocked. All right, I'm going to do a save as. Oh, Microsoft is just killing me here. Teaches me to use my OneDrive. Let's do a save as. My goodness. File, save as. What a pain. Save it to my documents this time. That'll teach me to use OneDrive. All right, pausing. Okay, this is a lot of stuff. You're right. That's why we're doing the video, because there's a lot of things happening here. Okay, so you can ignore this part. This is just keeping score of things. Let's zoom in a little bit here. Now, just like you need to do basic things, typing in stuff, put your name here, and make it, what size did it say? 19-point bold. All right. 19. Oh, I can't find a 19. What do I do? I can type 19 up in the size. Remember, just like in Word, if it's not in my list, I can type it and make it bold, and now type my name. And I can get rid of the rest. Okay. Remember how I did that? Type here to get the exact style requested. All right. The largest of the column of gray numbers above. Well, you have to think to yourself, what gives me the largest of the numbers? I click here in the gray where I'm going to put my answer. Where do I do this? Well, I'm going to go look for the easy way up here under my functions available. I know it's not going to be the sum, but there is that little down arrow right next to it. And looky here, I've got the max. The max is what I'm looking for when I'm looking for the largest. And now I can select through what I wanted to do the max of. It automatically chooses the yellow ones, but no, I want to drag through the gray ones because that's what it's been asking me to give me the largest of. There you go, max. Now I could have just typed max and then typed that range that I know what that's in gray in the G column, row 7 to 27. And be careful not to click anywhere else or it messes up your formula. Hit escape. If you're in the middle editing it, once you have it right, you can either hit enter or escape and you've got your formula. Now, does that make sense? Is that the largest one? Yeah, there's a max there, so I can see it is giving me the right answer. Uh-oh, now we've got to do some conditional formatting. Remember that conditional formatting. Okay, so we've got purple numbers above. We want positive numbers to have a green border and negative numbers to have a red border. Well, remember conditional formatting. I first select the items that I want to conditionally format. Select through all the purple leaves. Now I go to conditional formatting on the ribbon, and I can apply a new rule. And it's going to have two conditions. It's going to be positive and negative. Let's just worry about the positive part first. The positive are 0 or greater, and they're going to need to have a green border. Okay, so let's make the new rule. And the new rule is going to have something to do with cells that contain something. Well, here's the rule in the cells that contain. The cell with value, well, to be positive, that means it has to be greater than or equal to, and I type in the little box to the right, 0. So positive means greater than or equal to 0. That's the condition. Now, what the formatting should be, green border. All right, that's where we go to the format box to now establish what format goes with when it's greater than or equal to 0. So format, border, choose my border color right here. So let's find a green. And now let's choose where the border goes. Let's see, outline border. I think that would be it. That looks like it. Let's see what happens. If I want to make it thicker, I could choose a style. Oh, I guess it doesn't have a thickness style there. Okay, let's see what happens. I apply that and click OK. And I see a green border around anything that's positive. I suppose a fill of green would have made it more obvious. Now I also want to apply a negative number with a red border. Well, I have to select through those same boxes and go to conditional formatting and add another new rule. Same idea, cells that contain. This time, if it's negative, that means it's less than 0. So cells that contain cell value less than, and I can type in 0 here. I could actually put a cell reference there, but we're going to put the number 0 there. Now in the formatting, I'm looking for a red border. So formatting, color, red, choose my border. I think I actually want both outline and inside border. Can I turn that on? I think that'll work. Let's see what that shows up. Yeah, I want left and right, top and bottom. And let's click OK and OK again. And now I have red border showing up where there were negative numbers. Now the way to see whether I have the rules there now, after doing this, is I just select on those cells. Actually, I can select any one or all of them, and I can go to conditional formatting and manage rules. This is how I grade it. I go to there, and I click manage rules, and I see, yes, less than 0, apply a red border, greater than 0 or equal to 0, green border. Yep. Make sure you choose the color first and then the border type. I've seen that be a little goofy. Let's do it again to the gray just for practice. I have seen it. You have to choose your color first and then apply it. It's kind of confusing that way. I'm thinking that's what's going on. So let's try that. I'm going to apply just for gray, just for practice. This time I'm going to make it background, but it's cells that contain greater than or equal to, type a 0 there. And with the format, I've just got in the habit checking the color first, then applying it. And you should see here, if you see green here, that should apply it. Now, just to make it more obvious, I'm going to also add to this, I'm going to make the fill also green, just for practice. You'll be doing something like this. You don't have to, but if you want to practice, you're welcome to. Remember, any of these formats are valid formats. Usually I'm going to do something with border or fill. But you could even change the color of your font if it applied to that format. Remember, once you choose what the condition is, your style you apply is completely variable or customizable. And I click OK. And now it shows me in a preview what I should see when that condition is true. So for that one, I click OK. And I see any positive numbers got a green background. So just for practice again, I'm just going to do that again for the gray bar. I'm going to go to Conditional Formatting, New Rule, Cells that contain, and this time less than 0. Type 0 there. And this time I'm going to choose a format with a fill of not a dark red, maybe a little light pink. Make the text easier to read. And yes.
Can you, like, do they have any format where you can do it, be like, oh, do it for the positive and do it for the negative, or you have to do it for the positive?
Yeah, you have to do it for the positive separate from negative. And the reason is it's two different formats. There's some other built-in ones that I'm not asking you to do because they're a little confusing. But just for fun, if I play with the yellow column there, there's other formats like highlight cell rules, or let's see, there's some automatic color scales. And they're kind of cool that apply to things that are large or small. So those are kind of interesting. But there's so much it's doing for you that we want you to learn how to do it yourself rather than just rely on their color schemes. But it's pretty cool things you can do that are built in. Like I could apply a conditional formatting color scheme, and it makes it rainbow colors based on how positive it is or how negative it is. But you didn't have to do any work there. We want you to know how it's done by doing the cell values. Okay, scatter chart. Now this is a little more complex, but it has to do with knowing how to make charts. So if you just pay attention to what it's asking for, it's not that hard a thing. We're going to make a scatter chart, but we're using the numbers from the gray and purple background numbers above. So when you see that, think to yourself, okay, these numbers that were at gray and purple, these two columns of numbers, that's where we're going to make the chart up. And remember, when you're making charts like this, select what numbers are going to go into your chart, just like we did pie chart. We did select the words, titles of the pie, pieces of the pie, and then the numbers. In this case, a scatter chart wants 2 columns of numbers. So we select the numbers to go into our chart, then we go to the Insert tab, and this is just an exercise showing you the many kinds of charts available to you. If you browse through those, you'll see there's this little category called scatter charts. So I click on that, and there's the one with smooth lines connecting them. Now there's other types of scatter charts with straight lines, with no dots. I can make bubble scatter charts. I'm not sure what that's terribly useful with that one, but it's the line one. It looks kind of cool. So there's the one with smooth lines between the points. This one also has smooth lines without the points. Since I didn't say it couldn't have points, either one would be a correct answer of those scatter charts. But it's good to be familiar with what's available to you in the various charts. And even once I choose one, there's additional styles available. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that pretty cool stuff? This comes in handy when you're doing collecting of data that's related to one another. I kind of like that one. Now I did ask in the instructions to put the chart down below in that little square so we can resize that and put that down in that little rectangle where it said, please put the chart here. It gets kind of squished up in that little area, but we're good with that. Now, since I didn't say what title to put on it, you could just leave the title blank. I'm just going to put practice scatter chart here, just for fun. Remember the chart. When you have data to graph, you select the data, and then you say, okay, make a chart out of that data. All right, going down further now. Going back to something hopefully a little easier. We have a sequence of two numbers. We want to continue this sequence. Remember the secret to sequences. When there are two numbers and you want to continue how they are changing, remember you have to select through both of them, let go, and then grab the fill handle to continue whatever the sequence that was. So just for fun over here, I'm going to practice. Say I did a 3 and a 5. Well, the sequence, Excel guesses that, oh, you're incrementing by 2 each. Oops. You're incrementing by 2 each time. It'll continue that sequence. Let's make up a crazy sequence, a 1 and how about 23? I think it's just going to say, oh, you're incrementing by 22 each time. Let's see if it does that. Yep. So Excel just guesses between two numbers, and it continues that difference between the two numbers going up. The time I find this most useful is like when I'm doing today's date, 12/11/17, and I need a date for next week because we're continuing our club meeting or something. I can just make this to be that date plus 7 for a week later. I can continue my sequence of events, weekly events, and it knows what date those followed on. So that's a real handy way of continuing a sequence of dates. And I can change my starting date. This date is just whatever date was here plus 7, and it continues that sequence. So that was just another little practice. So continuing a sequence, remember the idea is select two of them, and then grab the fill handle. Now this one is just getting you to think about what other functions are available in Excel. And I gave you the name of the function, the geomean. So I can type equal and start typing the name of that function, G-E-O, and look at that, it comes up with a little help. I can click on that, or double click, and then of the sequence above. Remember how we do other functions? If I'm putting that in the parameters to that function, all I do is drag through the sequence that I wanted to calculate the geomean of. And the little help that pops below that also gives me an idea, oh, that can be a range of numbers. So geomean, it puts in the parenthesis, I drag through and get the E34, L34. I don't even have to hit the right parenthesis. If I just hit enter, it puts it in for me. And it calculates the geomean for me. If I click on that, I can see that show up in the function. Or double click, I can see it appear in the cell. So if you're given the name of a function that you're not familiar with, just start typing equal in that function name, and it'll show you with a little help pop-up if that's an actual existing function. Yeah?
I think of the part where it says places that we introduction rates.
Right here. So if you click on that, it won't let you edit. Hit escape just in case you're in the middle of some other editing. Can you click on that cell and just delete or anything? Or is it not letting you do any edits? Is it working yet? Here, let me come check on you. Okay, so now we're back going. Let's see what we want to do. Remember the merge? I can select through these cells, and I can do it merged and centered horizontally. Remember our merge and center? Where is that? It's up here somewhere. You find it? Right there. Merge and center. But that only merges it horizontally. I want to merge it vertically. Remember our friend, the dialogue, right up here hiding in the corner. He gives us a lot more capabilities. And there in the merging and alignment, I can center it horizontally center and vertically center. That dialogue, if there's anything that you can't find on the ribbon, open up the dialogue and you likely will find that formatting in that Format Cells dialog. And remember, there's multiple tabs there. The format of the number, the alignment of things, the rotating of it, the type of font, the type of border, the fill, and even password protected if I have applied a password to this whole worksheet. So I can actually protect just certain cells, not the whole worksheet, by clicking locked or unlocked. All right, so, oh, I forgot to merge and center that. Let me click on that again and go back to my alignment and make sure alignment vertical is center and click OK. I actually closed it before clicking OK. Now the text is now merged or centered both horizontally and vertically. Something that many people miss on that one, but it's really good to know that detailed dialogue of any formats of my cells. Now this one here, I have a legend here. I can't read anything. How horrible is that? I click on that legend and come up here and just adjust my font size. Look how easy that was. Let me do that again. Just click on the legend that's in my chart, click once, and change the font. And I can do that with parts of my chart as I select through it. This is a cool radial chart. You don't have to know how that works. You just know how to modify the legend. Okay, what do we have here? We have some numbers, but I wanted them to be in a currency format, but red in parentheses when negative. Well, let's first put them in currency format. Select through, and remember how to do currency. Right there gives me currency format, or accounting number format. I should have said accounting format. Maybe I'll fix that. Now look at, they're all black instead of going red in parentheses. Remember our friend, the dialogue again. There's accounting format. And let's see here. Well, it has different accounting formats. Oh, but look right above there. There is a currency format hiding in there. And look at that. I can make them red and in parentheses when negative. So there's our dialogue comes out to help us again in the formatting the number. I can go to exactly currency format. So remember how that's done. I could have just gone to the dialogue immediately. I didn't have to click accounting format. I could go right to the dialogue, currency, negative in red, and then click OK. And that puts it in the nice format. The little corner friend, our little friend in the corner.
Yep.
And then I see this choice of currency right there. So if there's ever a question, hey, wait a minute, I don't see it on the ribbon, pop up the dialogue, and you likely will find what we're looking for. And there's many options there. If you're doing any scientific data collection or others, there's special formats in our dialogue. Format Cells dialogue. Now here, there's two ways to do this. 0.57 in percent format. I could type 0.57, enter, and then come back and click on it and click my percent up here. There's one way to do it. Or perhaps an easier way is just type 57%. That'll give me the same answer. Just remember, mathematically, 57% is mathematically equal to 0.57. They're the same thing. And remember when we were making charts, we could apply different styles to different cells. I want to apply heading 2 style to this cell. So I select the cell and go up to my cell styles. Here's my cell styles right here. And there's my heading 2. And the way I know that it's heading 2 is if the cell's selected, when I come up here, I can see that heading 2 has a little gray box around it. It's not easy to see all the time, but I can see, yes, they did select heading 2 for that style. So anytime I want that heading 2 to apply, I just select my cell and choose the heading style. Want to do that again? Okay.
So I just have to select it. I don't have to highlight it.
I have to have it selected, right. Select it, and then cell style, and choose the cell style to apply to that cell. And there's heading 2. In my cell styles up in my home ribbon. Are you able to find the style section?
Anyone?
Well, I specified heading 2. So be sure to follow the instructions of the style that it's asking for.
Okay.
Now, a very common thing to do as you're formatting your chart is to adjust your row height. Now, we want this one to be exactly 50 pixels. Well, let's see. If I grab the edge of my row, the bottom edge of my row, and I adjust that, I see the height showing up. And if I very carefully, as I get near 50, I can slowly get right to exactly 50. It's a little tough. If I can't get that to come out right, I can right-click row height, and I can type in 50. That might be a little easier for you. So I can always right-click row height to enter the number, rather than manually adjusting. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard to get to stop right on the number you're looking for. When you right-click in the gray, on the gray side, and you can't be editing it or it's not going to cooperate. Make sure you're not editing anything. Just right-click in the gray of the row header, row height. Did you find it? Yeah. Okay. Now, we want to do an average. Remember the geo-mean? Well, there's probably an average. Let's just type equal average. Oh, look at that. AVE, and it shows me there is an average function. So I don't have to type anymore. I can just click on the average. Actually, double click. Yeah, double click on the average. And now the numbers in gray, remember, just select through them for them to be the numbers that get averaged together. And even with the word hello, it'll treat something that it can't treat as a number. It'll count that as a 0. There, it's calculated my average. Well, given a pretty good hint here, there must be something like a count. Let's click here and type equal count. Oh, there's lots of counts. Let's just go with the first one. Double click on that one. And it gives me a little hint. Oh, if a value goes there, usually that means a range can go there as well. So again, select that range, hitting enter, and it gives me the count. That there's 34 of them that count. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it looks like it's not counting hello, since hello doesn't match a number. So it gives me 34 instead of 35. All right, now a little formatting. Remember how we can adjust how many decimals are showing? I just click on the cell and I go to the increased decimal. Where is that? There it is, my increased decimal, and decrease it down, oh, wrong direction, decrease it down to 2 digits. Notice the number does not change. The number is still 1.1234567 but the format of it displays only 2. Remember how to rename your worksheets? In my workbook, just double click on the sheet and I can type a new name. Just double click on the tab of that sheet and it gives it a new name. And then I can always come back to the first tab. Oh, I forgot to put the dash in there. Double click, add the dash. I've heard of people actually putting dashes in their real name. Now, to rotate text, we do have this guy right here that'll rotate it exactly, let's see, at an angle counterclockwise. Let's see here. Well, it puts it at 45 degrees. I want it at 33. Well, I guess I'll have to go to Format Alignment and adjust my rotation here. I think I could just type in 33 there. I don't have to drag that rotator. I can type in 33 degrees in my formatting. Another way I could have gotten there was to go to my corner formatting, and there I can adjust my rotation there. So 33 and OK. Remember how I can put in graphics? Select where I want to put them, insert, and I can choose a graphic. Where's my graphics? Where did they go? I thought they were here. I wonder if it's hiding in. Did I hiding in links? No.
Yeah, check illustrations.
Oh, there! I was going way too far over. There we go. Yep, there they are. Now, with yours, you might see this ribbon already expanded. Because remember how it behaves differently depending on how small your Excel window is. So my ribbon was shrunk down on me. And there's the picture. And let's see, an arrow. Let's just type arrow. Oh, I'm going to go online. An online illustration. There we go. Arrow, and I search for arrow. And this is something that's a little dangerous. We've had pretty good internet service. There have been times where this has slowed down because we had slower internet. Type in whatever you're searching for. You can even choose your search engine and any arrow. Now remember, when you're doing graphics like this, don't spend much time on picking exactly the right graphic. Just pick an arrow and be done. I've seen people spending so much time. Let's see, insert. There we go. Click the insert button. Don't worry about the style. And why is it taking so long?
It doesn't matter if we just insert one of the ones on the shape that they have here, right?
Nope. Yeah, that's right. You can also do an insert a shape. And that, I'm going to try that. Where'd my shapes go? There's shapes. I can do an arrow from there. So any of those arrows. There we go. Now, sometimes, I guess sometimes I've asked you to shade that as well. I guess that might have been on another one. Suppose I wanted to add a shading to that. Remember, under Format, I can do all sorts of format to that shape. And let's try an effect of maybe a shadow. There we go. I can apply a shadow to that shape. Inner or outer shadow. It's a little more obvious when it's not over the gray. So anytime I have graphics, I can apply shape effects to my graphics. Now, sometimes all you care about is copying numbers from one part of the cell of the worksheet to another. I can select through these, Control C copy, and come back to where I want to paste them, and click there. I can Control V paste. Start in the upper left, paste the numbers. We did this a little bit last time. If I want to format this cell with some pattern that I don't see available up here, I can go to More Colors. No, that doesn't give me my vertical lines. Okay, I just selected the numbers. Did you do that yet?
Oh, man. Never mind. Yeah.
Okay. Make sure to select the gray. I Control C copy, and then a paste. I'm gonna do one more thing as I'm thinking about that. With your paste, you can always do a paste special. If you don't want that yellow to be replaced with gray, you can choose to paste just the values rather than the format and the values. So if I didn't want it to wipe out the yellow background, just pasting the values is a nice thing to know how to do. Although I didn't say you had to do that here, I just said copy and paste. But a paste special is sometimes what you're looking for. Now this one, remember the formatting? This is where we have to go to our format dialog. Let's see, can I get there from a right click? Yeah, format cells. I can also get there from a right click, format cells. That will also take me to my dialog. In this case, we're looking for a fill pattern. So that would be underneath fill. And now we're looking for a pattern style. There's our vertical line. And there's multiple vertical line styles. Any of those would be, either of these would be fine. Thin or thick. And I didn't specify a color. If it bothers your eyes, you can make it a lighter gray. Oh, that's not very nice. Yeah, vertical lines are just obnoxious. Remember, absolute reference, that's the same as the stickies. Absolute reference, not absolute value. Some will get partial credit because they'll forget ABS. That's absolute value. That's a mathematical function. That's not what we're looking for. No, no, no. You don't want that. You want absolute reference, AA3. A sticky in front of the A and 3. And if you put an equal in front of that, that'll be fine as well. But that's what I'm looking for. Just to remind you, help you practice, absolute reference is the stickies. Absolute value is the mathematical formula.
So that one could you just do type AA3 and press that?
Yeah, that's right. You could do equal AA3. Let's see if it'll take AA3. I don't think it does it if you don't type the equal in front of it. But if you do the equal AA3 F4, then it does it. Did you have a question?
But then it equals 0.
Oh, that's fine. That doesn't matter. All that matters is the formula is the absolute reference. So I'll accept either answer with or without the equal. Just to remember that term, absolute reference means the stickies. And remember, it's not $A, it's $, the row or column reference. And as they get past 26 letters, it starts doubling up the letters. Okay. Now to insert a row, remember how that's done? Right-click in the gray, insert. It will insert a new row. Right-click in the cell below, inserts a row above. This is getting closer to our accounting table we're going to do at the end here. In a checkbook, remember how we did a simple calculation? We want the numbers in here always to be what's in the balance of the previous balance, adding any deposits that might be there, subtracting any expenses. So the formula would be equal to the cell above me, adding in a deposit that might be in this column, subtracting an expense that might be in this column. That will give me my correct formula for whenever I calculate what goes on the next line is the balance from the line above, adding any deposit, subtracting any expense. No stickies needed here because we do want to continue adding to the balance above or subtracting from the balance above. So one formula now can be copied to all the rows below without having to change it if it's a deposit or expense. It'll be the correct formula because remember, blank cells count as 0. So adding 0 or subtracting 0 will give me the correct answer. The idea here is just to know that this relative formula, add to what's above me, our deposit, subtract from what's above me, my expense. And then once I have the formula, I can fill handle down. So this is just a little more practice in reference cell referencing. I'm adding to the number above me a number that might be here, or a number that, and subtracting any number that might be here. And then I fill handle down. A little more practice. We did this Friday, but it doesn't hurt to do this again. This addition table. First, I just do the basic addition. I'm adding that number there to that number there. But one of these numbers isn't going to change as I copy my formula.
Wait, where is it telling us to add these two numbers?
Right here, the plus. Or,
Oh.
and up here it says addition table.
What number do you
Now, what numbers do not change as I'm getting ready to copy this formula?
but I need help with this.
We want to fill this whole addition table with the proper formulas. We're going to fill handle the rest, but we have to put stickies in the right place first. If I fill handle now, I'm not going to get the right answers. Don't want to do F4 yet, but we need to know where the stickies go.
Where did you get the numbers, Mr. Man?
Okay, where did I get the numbers? I clicked here, and I type equal, and I click on this cell is going to be the one that's going to be adding to the other one. When I click on there, it puts an E117 because this cell is column E, row 117. I'm going to add it with the plus. I don't need to type that. I can just click on the cell, and it puts in the right address for me. You get that part?
No. Okay.
Do you understand why it's D118?
No.
Okay? It's in column D, row 118. That's why that's a D118, because this cell, his location, column D, row 118. That's why we have a D118. E117, we have that there because we want to add the number that's in column E. See column E here? This is column E. And this is row what? What row is this? 117. That's why that's E117. I'm adding what's in E117 to D118. Now, the hard question. As I copy this formula down, what does not change in the E117? I always want to be adding what's in here to what's here. So what does not change as I copy this formula? Yeah, the 117, I'm always adding what's in row 117 That doesn't change as I change my formula. This number, what does not change here as I copy it down and across? I'm always adding what's in column D to what's in row 117, so the D does not change. So this is a way to kind of challenge you to think, why the stickies? Now when I copy my formula, grabbing the fill handle, it keeps the D from changing and the row from changing as I copy it down and across. See how the D, it's always getting the number from column D for that number. It's always getting it from row 117 for that number to be added together.
It all needs to be behind. It all needs to be in front and behind. The D just in front of the D.
The D is the one that does not change.
Okay.
I do want to change to a 4, a 5, 6, 7 as I move down, so I don't want the row number to be stuck at 120. So I do not put the sticky on the 120. As I move across, this number does move to a new column, but it doesn't move to a new row. So I only put the sticky on the row because I always want the number to come from this row, but to allow it to change as I move across in the column. So relative column, absolute row. This one's a absolute column, relative row. Just practice at that relative addressing. And the rest of it, we kind of worked on the various, that's an if formula, the accounting table. We did this accounting table last time, so that's just another accounting table to practice on. And you can turn this out. This one can also be turned in for extra credit. And it'll give you practice, so you'll even
But
be...
you want us to finish it all?
Yeah, if you're going to turn it in, finish it. That'll give you good practice. We went over the formula last time, and I think you know how to hide rows. But this is what the final is going to be like. You'll be given the instructions inside the Excel file, and it'd be up to you to then just follow through on all those instructions. Carefully read your instructions as you finish that up. That's what this is what the final will be like. Multiple instructions.
I don't understand that.
Which one? Okay, let's think through this one. That one here. Okay. Let's clear it out and start over here just to think through this. The formula that goes here, and the only reason I'm worrying about this is I don't want to have to copy the new formula each time. I want to put the formula once here and then copy it down. So I just hit the delete key after selecting that. Okay, so let's get the formula first without any referencing. If I do equal that number plus this number, I get a formula. And let's see, if I didn't use the stickies, what I would get for a result if I tried to copy that one. I'd get crazy numbers. That is not the addition table. So that's not going to work that way. I have to go back and remember, okay, I'm always adding only what's in row 117 to what's in column D as I do my addition table. So row, yes, because I don't want 117 to change as I copy my formula. And I don't want the D to change as I copy to the other columns. I'm always getting the number from column D. That's what the sticky is saying. Sticky, don't change this from to a different row as I copy, and don't let the column change as I copy my formula to other columns. But this will change its column because, and now I can fill handle down, and it comes up correct. Oh, forgot to get my stickies in there. My stickies didn't stick. The whole point was not that this is a super fancy formula, just to give you practice at understanding what the stickies are doing. That's the only reason for that. So now I can fill handle. And remember, the stickies are useless unless I plan to copy my formula. If it's a one-time formula, don't worry about stickies, the absolute reference. And that'll be it for your practice. I'll leave it for the rest